So today we're talking about Tunisian crochet, and I'm having some technical difficulties, so it's going to be a little bit of a different video, but I hope this information is valid anyway. So first you're going to do a slip knot, and then you're going to chain however many stitches you want, just like in normal crochet. For this one I am using a normal crochet needle. I'm really not, I have Tunisian crochet needles, but I thought I would show you just using a normal needle so that you can test this out even if you don't have the proper tools. So Tunisian crochet is made of a forward row and a backwards row, or return row. The forwards row is like you see here. I go into a stitch, I yarn over, and I pull up a loop, and then I move on. And it's that simple. You don't have to pull through any. Now the last stitch, you want to go through it once. So now we're done with the forward row. Now to do the backwards row, yarn over and pull through 2. Then yarn over again and pull through 2. And you do that until you only have one loop on your hook. The first row is a little bit different because we're working in the chain, but from now on it's going to be the same thing. You're going to go into one of these vertical bars, pull up a loop, and keep it on the hook. Then you're going to go into the next, yarn over, pull up a loop. You will continue this way until you're at the end. Now at the very end, there isn't a vertical bar, but there is something that looks a little bit like a normal crochet stitch. So it's this V that we have to go into, and you pull up a loop in that too. Now to finish the forward row, pull through 1 loop. Now to go back again, yarn over, pull through 2. And yarn over and pull through 2, and so on. Now this is the Afghan stitch, and it's really easy and simple, and it becomes very stretchy, and it's not as thick as normal crochet, so I really like it for things that you're going to wear. So as you see here, the stitches are very easy to identify as they are just this vertical bar, and then there is a V that is laid down. So now I've finished another row, and you can see here what it looks like when you're done. Another stitch that I wanted to show you is another one that I really like to do, and it's called a knit stitch. Now this is a little too far out, but I will see if I can zoom in a bit. What you basically do is you go into the stitch and to the other side, and then you pull up a loop. And then you just do the same return row as you did on the Afghan stitch. So here we are a little bit closer, and the important thing here is that you identify your stitch, and then you go into the right of the vertical bar, and you go straight through the stitch and pull up a loop. And I can see already that I've made a mistake on my previous row, but it's very important that you go into the stitch instead of around it, meaning that you will go in directly to the right of your vertical bar. The last stitch is the same as before. You just find the 2 loops at the end, go through them, and then yarn over and go through once. Then yarn over, go through 2 until you're back where you started. And again, to do forward row, just go through the stitches all the way up. Now remember that the first stitch, the loop that you have on your hook when you start, that counts as one stitch. So this is what it looks like when you're done. It really does look like knit, I think. And then on the bottom here is the Afghan stitch, just so you can see the difference between the two. The Afghan stitch is a little bit thinner than the knit stitch, and the knit stitch is a lot thicker than normal knit. As you can see here on the back, you have an entire row, whereas on the Afghan stitch you only have loops on the back. In the knit stitch you get like the bulk of the previous stitch back there. So here I want to show you how to change colors, and you do that by going through the vertical bar and then pulling up a loop with your new color. It's really that simple. So here I'll show you if you just do that. So now I'll have 2 blue and 2 green, but on my back, on the back of this, there are lines of yarn, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is I want to crochet my ends into the work. So I put the end that I want to crochet into it on the front of the work, and then I pull through with my new color. Then I go through the next vertical bar, and then I go under the end that I want to crochet into the work. So now I only wanted to do 2 green stitches, so now I'll just put down my green yarn, and on top I now have the end of my green yarn. And to crochet that in, I'm going to go over, and then I'm going to go under. In normal crochet you would just have it on the front, but that doesn't work in Tunisian crochet because that's not how we do it. So basically just over and under until you get to the end, and I will flip it around in a second so you can see that it actually works. So it's not hidden per se, but it's inside the work now rather than needing to be sewn in. And I kind of like that personally. Some people would rather sew it in, and that's really up to you. I just find this method really nice, so that I don't have to do anything on the other when I'm done with it. So to do a return row with your green, when you get to the stitch, you just pull through the green twice, and then to move back into your blue stitches, take your blue yarn and go through your blue stitches. Now to do a forward pass again, you can actually trap the the lines of yarn that are now on the back by doing the same thing as we did with the ends. So you basically go under the yarn that you want to crochet in and pull up your loop. That is just my end that I caught on my way back. It's not supposed to be there. But this is what it looks like, and then in the next stitch I'm going to go on top. So here we are. I have finished the color change on the back, and it's no longer showing. Then I'm going to do 2 green stitches again while trapping my blue yarn, going over and under it. So there we go, and I'm going to drop the green yarn because I need it on my way back, and then do the rest of the blue stitches. So here I do the return row, and it's the same thing again. When I get to the green stitch, I'm just going to switch to the green and finish that. So that's it for changing colors. It's really easy in Tunisian crochet, and it becomes really nice, especially compared to normal crochet where color changes is pretty loose and weird. This is the scarf that I made in this. I actually used a normal crochet hook and I just did 8 stitches. And I just did them for a very long time. These are 3 strips of 8 stitches. And I'm sewing them together with a yarn needle. So this is just to show you that you don't need the Tunisian crochet hook. It's nice to have, but you don't need it. So this is my version of like a frozen scarf, because I bought ice princess things for my niece for her birthday. So I wanted to do a ice princess scarf too, and it's this one. To begin in in the beginning it was like a hair piece, but I think perhaps it's not that good for for children, so I made it into a scarf instead, because otherwise it might be pulling on her hair, and yeah, we don't want it. So I just braided this together, and now I'm just stitching the different overlaps together so that they don't untangle themselves. And then I made some pom-poms to put at the ends, and I'm actually really happy with the results. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.